There you have it. Confirmed on PinkUn.com, Wes Hoolahan is departing Norwich City, with his last game being Norwich City's final home game of the season when they host Leeds United on Saturday. How about that? Hello everyone, welcome to Archant Towers here, the sports desk. Just beside me here, where of course the news has just broken over Wes Hoolahan's future, which will now lie away from Carrow Road. He is of course out of contract this coming summer, and the club have confirmed just now that he will be free to leave, and that after almost exactly 10 years at the club. Here at Archant Towers, we're going to run around. We've got a few people. Obviously, we've got Paddy, Dave Freezer both here, and a couple of others we're going to pop over and have a chat to you about the announcement today, which has just broken this lunchtime. What I did want to do is just give you a taster of some of the quotes, if I may, from some of the key figures involved. If I can just precariously deal with the microphone. Let's have a look here, shall we? There's a few quotes around from Wes, from Farke, from Daniel Farke, and from Stuart Webber as well. Wes reiterating how amazing the place has been. He's certainly going to miss the place. He is looking forward to his next challenge, so this isn't a retirement. And of course there is going to be a testimonial that Wes himself is going to have to organise by the sounds of it. That will be over the course of the next 12 months, but it can't be held at Carrow Road this summer due to the relaying of the pitch. And it's going to be a special day for Wes come the Leeds game. It will be his last game for Norwich City. He won't play against Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, so it is truly going to be all about this coming week. And in terms of Farke, Daniel Farke says he felt really blessed and thankful to have been his coach. Big pleasure to work with Wes, and not only because of his ability but also his personality and character. As for sporting director Stuart Webber, he says it was a really difficult decision. What he's done for the club, both on and off the pitch, is immense. It's always going to be difficult when it's the end of an era for somebody, and I'm just glad he's going to get the send-off he deserves, and he's been granted a testimonial, which is great. No one should underestimate what an achievement it's been being at a club of this size for 10 years. We should never take that for granted. Quite. Right, let's go and have a wander. Paddy is closest to me, so I think speaking to Paddy probably makes the most sense. Hello, sir. You right?
Good, mate, good.
I think we all kind of got wind that this is going to happen this week, didn't we? So, initial thoughts. I mean, Wes, a true legend. We haven't seen as much of him maybe as we'd have hoped this season, but maybe that's just symptomatic of where everything is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately 10 years is a phenomenal period of time, but all good things come to an end, and I think, yeah, the changing of the guard was underway for most of the season. The emergence of Maddison, for example, Leitner came in. Before that, Pritchard was obviously had a great acclaims to that number 10 role, but you know, you'll hear a lot today about what an unbelievable servant he was for the football club. Absolutely pivotal to that period, you know, when they were in the doldrums, bottom end of League One. He was key. Him, Grant Holt, Chris Martin, that League One season, and just an unbelievable ride. You know, there's been highs, there's been lows, obviously, one or two relegations in the mix, but you look at his figures as well, they don't do him justice today. You know, 350 odd appearances, 53 goals. But it was the style for me, the style of the man. You know, before it became fashionable with the Spanish kind of tiki-taki, Iniesta, Xavi type players, there was Wes Hoolahan for me. You know, he was ahead of his time in that sense. That kind of very, very accomplished modern midfielder, excellent in small pockets of space, good awareness, imagination, creativity. You know, Norwich were lucky to have him. And what a phenomenal piece of business. You know, obviously throwing it forward, we're going to be talking a lot about transfer windows. £250,000 I think was the figure they paid Blackpool. Absolute steal. Repaid it many times over, and can't wait for Saturday now. What was going to be a fairly tame affair, I think, is going to be absolutely jumping. There certainly won't be any issue with the Carrow Road atmosphere this Saturday.
No, spot on, Paddy. And I think Stuart Webber said, if you like football, you like Wes Hoolahan, which I think stands testament most definitely. We're having a quick browse through some of the history bits and bobs. And I think the first headline on the first time you saw Wes Hoolahan, you called him dazzling.
You've told me that this morning, my friend.
Yeah.
I don't think it was me who put that headline on there, but yeah, that was Galston pre-season friendly. I've got to be brutally honest, I don't remember anything of Wes Hoolahan's appearance. Many years have passed since then, but what I do remember is the first game back in the Premier League era, 2011. They went to Wigan. There was many Norwich fans there. They filled that entire away end, 4,500 I think they took that day, and Wes scored the first goal for Norwich back in the Premier League, and it was quite fitting that he was the man, because in terms of who did as much as any to get them there in those 2 seasons under Lambert, Wes Hoolahan, he was at the peak of his powers then. So yeah, that's probably my abiding memory, rather than as I say, with all due respect to Emerald Park, his first outing in the yellow shirt.
Quite. We'll get more from him. Cheers, Paddy. I'll let you get on, because everyone's going to be pretty busy, as you can imagine. I'll certainly try and go through and answer some of these questions, although you have to appreciate I've only got 2 arms. But let's go through what we've got on here, shall we, and see some of the reactions we've got. John Davey calls it a sham, although I don't know if he means shame. Vivian Bishop does end the E, and she does end with an E and does say such a shame. Chris Dayton, sad day but feels like the right time. Rachel Carter, absolutely gutted, all the best, Wes. John Davey has corrected himself with shame. Good, because some people might think it's a sham. St John Cooper, he's not happy with the decision. Colin Cross, no testimonial. Yes, there will be a testimonial, but that will take place over the next 12 months. By the sounds of it, Wes is going to organise that. Hopefully he'll have a club as well, but the idea is to have a testimonial at some point over the next 12 months. Norwich can't host one at Carrow Road due to the pitch being relayed this summer, which is obviously not ideal, but there we go. John Ralph, it's another legend's birthday today. Darren Huckabee, two of the greatest. That's a good point, John. Well noticed. Sam Besants calls himself a broken man right now. Oh, Sam. At least we did get to see the best of Wes Hoolahan. That's certainly a good thing. What else have we got here? Simon Bellis, he'll be replaced by yet another cheap German. Well, quite possibly. Mark Glater, how much did Wes cost us? It was £250,000 back in August 2008. That is not bad at all. There we go. So let's grab Mr. Freezer, shall we? Let me flip this round. And there he is. And for the aesthetically pleased amongst you, I'm going to go the other side to how I spoke to Pad. There we go, just to liven up. Dave, you're not crying. That's good.
No, I'm not crying. It's the right decision. I've loved watching Wes play as much as everyone else. But I described him to you recently as walking nostalgia, didn't I? And I'm afraid he hasn't been close to his best at all for a while now, has he? And to be fair to him, he's kept fit, hasn't he? And he's still been in and around things, but he's 36 next month, not even far away from that. I don't think that is the age of a player of his type that's going to be successful in the Championship. He doesn't look like he's playing enough football to be sharp enough to really turn players inside out. And Wes has always given the ball away a bit, isn't he? Even at his peak, particularly in the Premier League, there were times when it could be quite nerve-wracking watching Wes. But you remember the good times, don't you? The penalty against Ipswich in the playoffs. He scored the first goal back in the Prem, didn't he, at Wigan, back on the opening day. So many wonderful moments. The goal against Forest last season was an absolute cracker. The one against Rotherham, completely different, when he turned their players, left them on their backsides. And he's been wonderful to watch. And what I've always liked about Wes as well is that with every club, it seems, but certainly with Norwich and with his country, with Ireland, he's had to prove himself, hasn't he? When Paul Lambert turned up here, despite knowing Wes well from their time at Livingston together, Wes really had to force his way in, didn't he? It looked like he was going to leave. That would have been a year or so after he'd actually arrived from Blackpool, but he forced his way in. And then of course that League One season just took the mick out of players pretty much. He was far too good for that level once he had a Grant Holt and Chris Martin to play with that season. Similarly, the next season in the Championship, the 9-1 over Ipswich over the course of that season. So many great memories, and I think the club deserve credit for dealing with this properly. They've learned from the Darren Huckabee mistakes of 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Yeah, because of course that's why Wes arrived, wasn't it? He was the sort of Huckabee replacement. They've learned from the mistakes they made there. They've dealt with this properly. They've set it up. It's interesting that they're not going to play him in the away game, so that everyone can literally say goodbye on Saturday. That's a nice moment, and confirmation of the testimonial as well. So I guess we'll see when Celtic are free.
Yeah, quite possibly. David, I'll ask you this. There's a few people obviously not happy. They see it as a poor decision by the club, which I guess is, some people have that instant reaction, but they're going to get some criticism from some sources for that. How do you feel about that?
I'm not remotely surprised. Some people seem to be able to moan about absolutely anything, but I think if you've been watching Wes properly in this season generally, I don't think he's done much at all this season. He scored 1 goal, hasn't he? I don't really remember any assists, particularly off the top of my head. I haven't checked that, but yeah, I don't think he plays enough football to be sharp enough to have an impact at this level. You know, the Championship is a very, very competitive division nowadays. That Premier League money, which makes the Premier League the most lucrative league in the world, has dripped down to the Championship, and there is a lot of quality in there. So I think if Wes was still playing week in, week out, maybe he could still have an influence, but that's not where Norwich are at the moment. And frankly, it's time, with the club going through this big evolution, that you need new heroes to step forward. You need the next Wes Hoolahan off the rank. You know, he's leaving in 17th place in the club's all-time rankings, just past 350 games. The guy he's more than a legend. I think icon is the word to use for Wes. But it's time for somebody else to step up and take on that mantle. And Wes and Grant Holt and all those players who've done it in the Championship before, Darren Huckabee, and shown that Norwich players can tear this division apart. We need somebody else to arrive and start making their own legend.
Your best Glenn Roeder impression there, Dave. Appreciate that. Well done. Just finally then, best Wes Hoolahan moment, the one that sticks out? Tough question to drop on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can always picture the celebration against Ipswich in the playoff final, but I suppose that was such a special day. So that's the one that springs out at me, but I suppose that's because it goes back over such a long time. So yeah, that fist pump in front of the Barclay when they got back in front, I think that was a memorable moment. But it's just been a joy to watch him play football, isn't it?
Spot on, it has indeed. Cheers, Dave. Thank you very much. We'll see how long we can keep this going and how long my arm survives too. Yeah, quite interesting. Dave mentions the playoff final, because I'd probably agree. There was something about the fact that Wes had already obviously had the success under Lambert here over three stellar seasons, but it was almost at the playoff final, that next chance again, that maybe he might not have thought he was going to get. The celebrations that day seem to just resonate that little bit greater. 1 second, if you can bear with me a moment. Wes Hoolahan shirt. Enjoyed himself in the Premier League, did Wes. Made over 100 appearances in the Premier League, 12 goals, 19 assists. Certainly one of Ireland's better players in the Premier League since it was formed. Now, I did let Pete Raven know, formerly of the Sports Desk, of course, that I'd come and have a chat with him about Wes Hoolahan. Those who follow PinkUn on Twitter and what have you will know Pete Raven is a particularly staunch Wes Hoolahan fan. He's decided to go to lunch. So I'm going to endeavour to keep this video going as long as possible, so that when Pete does come back we can see him crying, because there's a fair chance he might be crying over the departure of Wes Hoolahan. But I did also promise I'd speak to these two likely lads. Look at these two. Look, there we go. It's Ian Clarke with his sad face and mug, or sad mug, and Dave Powles. Gents, Dave, let's speak to you first, shall we? Refreshed from Dubai.
I don't know. This is the worst possible news to come back to. I'm going to go back.
Is it? Were we not expecting it a little bit?
Yes, but it's still sad, because it's the end of it. It's the end of an era for something that many of us follow very passionately and spend a lot of money following and have loved following. And so yeah, it's a sad moment.
Mark Little's got in touch. He says, "Retire the number 14 shirt?" ?
No, I don't go for things like that. Because, you know, where does it end? You'll end up with having no shirts left in 1,000 times.
They're special people, Wes Hoolahan. Special,
absolutely special. Then let's just put a nice big picture of his face up somewhere.
Maybe lots of face masks.
Shirt. Face masks would be a great idea, Michael.
What do you want to see on Saturday? What apart from face masks?
I want to see face masks that you have to buy the EDP or the Eve News to get, if I'm honest. But that's the editor talking. As a fan talking, I'm really pleased. I'm taking my little boy to the game on Saturday. That was already pre-arranged. So the other half's going to be pretty gutted because it means she won't get to see Wes Hoolahan's last game, and she loves Wes Hoolahan. But I did preempt it. I told her a few weeks ago, I said this is probably the last time you're going to see Wes. So yeah, I just want to see him score a hat-trick. It's not too much to ask, is it?
I assume he'll start and assume he'll wear the captain's armband, wouldn't you?
I don't know, because, you know...
Imagine if he was on the bench and didn't come on.
Would it be a surprise?
No, he'll play, don't worry.
I mean, yeah, he's been an absolute legend. I was just finding an article from 2014 when I was a columnist, and it looked like he would be leaving then, and I wrote an ode to Wes Hoolahan. I think it's, you know, good that we've got another 4 years out of him. Yeah, he's not been quite the level he was, but I mean, there are very, very few players in this game who can do magic moments that make you literally kind of whoop with excitement and go, what the heck did I just what the heck did I just see? And he was one of those players, and I think that as a Norwich City fan, feel completely and utterly privileged that he wore a Norwich City shirt and we got to see him. He's an artist. He is an artist, a very, very special talent, and yeah, he will not be forgotten.
Not be forgotten, and he will be missed. Have you got a favourite Wes moment?
God, do you know what? There's probably too many, but it's weird. Actually, I can't remember. I have no idea what game it was. I have no idea what moment it was, but I just have in my head these kind of things he'd do on the middle of the pitch where just suddenly he'd be going one way and the next thing he'd kind of be going the next. I've got two favourite images that stick in my head. There's that great one of him at the airport with the colours, doing the colouring. I know that's not on the pitch. And there's that brilliant picture of him dummying Stephen Zonzi. And it's like kind of Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, that's brilliant. And then the picture here that Pete Raven himself... Look at that. Is that not the greatest...
Who is that?
Is that not the greatest seven-a-side team that never was?
It's not coming through very well, but that...
Grant Holt, Fraser Forster, Gary Doherty, Corey Smith, yours truly, Pete Raven, obviously he was the manager, and Wes Hoolahan. What about that? What a lineup, Michael.
What? the lineup, we never got to see him in full flow, but you know, maybe one day. Dave, thank you very much. No, I'm sure we've got lots planned for the rest of the week. Here's Clarke.
Moving on to midfield trios that you thought you'd seen. Now, I'm not quite sure I'd have slotted in the middle. Maybe I'd have gone one side, but they were.
You got Wes on the left.
Yeah, I mean Brady insisted on gate crashing the picture, to be honest. But no, great. He's just a great player. I mean I've followed Norwich for nearly 40 years now, and Dave used the word wizard or master. I can't remember which it was now, but I think in terms of players that do something different, he's been up there for me. He's just been such a brilliant, tricky. You know, if you're trying to play against him, you don't know what he's going to do next, do you? Or the little wizardry that he can bring out. So he is going to be sadly missed.
And where does he rank then, Clarke? I mean, you know, it's easier when they're players that we've all seen, obviously, and you know, we've all been captivated. It's like talking, as Dave was saying then, I think there's most games when there'll be a moment where you go, oh, Wes, because he's just done something outrageous in the pitch, and that level of entertainment was never short of when he was playing.
I'm one of those fans that remembers individual stuff that players have done. I mean, he may not make an all-time Norwich 11, he probably wouldn't. But
really?
He would. Absolutely would. Completely. 100%.
It depends what formation you played. I mean, he obviously needs to slot into a certain format.
Instead of him then. Honest truth, I put him above Huckabee. I put him above Huckabee.
I would put Huckabee above him. I do think Huckabee, the pace Huckabee had and the way that he could rip teams apart in a certain way, Wes needs other players to bring in, whereas Huckabee could single-handedly do it for me.
No, I disagree.
I have a feeling this is going to end up on the website as a discussion and poll at some point.
But, you know, both great players, and you'd probably make room from both in your team, wouldn't you? But
I'll have Darren Eady on the phone then. So,
well, Dad, put down on the other flank. Come on, they've both got 2 feet. But yeah, and in terms of the way that we see him off, I'd like him to maybe start in goal, stick him centre back after 20 minutes, put him on the wing on in the second half, and then up front and score 4 goals in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'm sure Leeds will oblige as well, won't they? Absolutely. Well, what a start! I mean, as I mentioned to Clarke, you're Clarke. I mentioned to Dave Freezer as well. A little bit of criticism from some of the supporters. Is there any grounds for that? Was there an argument for keeping Wes longer than beyond this season?
Of course there's an argument. I think there'd be an argument to keep him until he can no longer move, because he's always going to have something in his locker to bring in. I think we have to be a little bit more you have to look at a slightly bigger picture now, and obviously the way things have gone, the club has certainly gone in a particular direction. I just really hope that he can get a good future where he can go and do something for a team that will be able to benefit from the great skill he's got.
You got a particular favourite Wes moment?
I think all those goals he scored against Ipswich, when he clearly loved Derby Day, didn't he? And then you can look back at various moments he had in those Derby games. So certainly Wes on Derby Day for me.
What a star. Cheers, Clarke. Thank you very much. And Dave, much appreciated. He's waving. He's waving. Oh, there we go. Right, the arm is... I don't know how long we've been going, but my arm is aching. Oh, hang on.
If anyone's seen Pete Raven, please let us know. We are worried.
It's shocking behaviour, isn't it?
I've had all sharp objects removed from his desk, and I've put an all alert out.
I did tell him I was going to come and chat with him, but I think this is why this is deliberate, really.
Can I just mention something else? We're actually going to be doing some fan reaction at Castle. I'm just reading my note here. Well. Castle Mall at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So fans can come along down there and just give their memories, their special times involving Wes. So 2 o'clock at Castle Mall.
Outside the Norwich City club shop, isn't it? Yeah. Brilliant stuff, Clarke. Get down there and we'll have some video. As I said, I was hoping to speak to Pete Raven. It's almost a little bit too deliberate, but there he is. I mean, he's not sat at his desk. I don't know if we might not see him for the rest of the day, which will worry a few people. Right, I think that's pretty much all the reaction we're going to get from here, but as Ian Clarke mentioned, we'll be down at the club shop in the Castle Mall to get some more reaction from you guys. If you want to head down there, then give us a word and we'll make sure we include that in all our numerous Wes Hoolahan tributes that are going to be following over, well, an entire week. I imagine a week of action. I'm sure there'll be lots to come, and you'll be able to keep entirely abreast of it all over at PinkUn.com. There'll be we'll do a Q&A. I think we're doing a Q&A in 15 minutes time, so you can take that in at PinkUn.com, of course, as well. PinkUn Show on Wednesday. We'll do a podcast. Basically, there are no bases that won't be covered by us over the rest of the week, as we all prepare to say goodbye to Wesley Hoolahan. We'll see you next time.